time now to return to our top story, and that's the fallout from the French government's decision to force through those controversial pension reforms that will see the retirement age rise from 62 to 64. Our press reviewer, Leo McGuinn, is here with us in studio now. Leo, talk to us about how the French papers have been covering this latest twist.
Sharon, as you can imagine, this news is absolutely dominating the French newspapers this morning. Of course, that news that the French government are invoking Article 49.3 and pushing through those pension reforms without a vote. We'll start with the front page of Libération, left-leaning Libération. They have the man himself, President Emmanuel Macron, on the front page, making it very clear who they blame for this. Sa faute, his fault, they say on the front page. If we look inside, they expand on this. They say this is the start for Macron, the start of his powerlessness. They say the president has lost all credibility to lead the country. If we go to the right and look at Le Figaro, they are, of course, leading with this as well. They say that the executive has been weakened and isolated by this decision. They talk of the knock-on effect it could have on French politics as a whole. And crucially, they say that the government has left itself vulnerable to a vote of no confidence, which we'll find out later today. Of course, one's already been tabled by Marine Le Pen's National Rally Party. She says that Elisabeth Borne, her position is untenable. She needs to go. If we look at the front page of L'Opinion, it's a similar theme. They say Borne is under pressure and Macron has been severely weakened by this. I want to look at one last French media outlet, which is Le Monde, of course, the most circulated French newspaper. They talk about the effects that this could have of moving the retirement age from 62 to 64. They say it won't necessarily increase youth unemployment, but it could risk restricting 25-year-olds looking to get into the labour market.
Now, this story, it's making headlines right around the world, isn't it, Leo? What are some of the international papers saying about it?
Yeah, Sharon, you know it's big news when it's making the front pages elsewhere. If we look at the UK, on the front page of The Telegraph, you can see MPs complaining there when the decision was made. And if we look at The Guardian, it's there as well. If we look at the New York Times, they've got a very similar theme to the French newspapers. They say the pension clash has weakened Macron. He's now isolated by this whole saga. According to this piece, it smacks of contempt and aloofness, is what they say. They say that during his second term, Macron wanted to project a milder image, someone who was more willing to listen, but this has completely put paid to that. If we look at The Economist, they actually pose a question. How does France recover from this? Has it doomed France's government to fail? They say it's hard to see how Macron gets out of this mess, and he might have to do something drastic, like sacking his prime minister, replacing her with someone else, but even that will do. They'll need to go a long way to reunify France.
Moving on now, Leo, to Libya, and it's a story about some missing uranium. Over 2 tonnes was unaccounted for at an undisclosed site in the country as of yesterday. What is the update? Has it been found?
So the good news is that this uranium has been found. We can see in The Guardian 2.5 tonnes of it that went missing, been reported missing by the International Atomic Energy Agency this week. 10 barrels in total. According to a Libyan general, it's been found just a few kilometres from where it went missing. But despite it being found and that good news, it does raise fears over nuclear security. If we look at the Financial Times, they say, yeah, the uranium that went missing in itself couldn't be used for nuclear weapons, but if it did fall into the wrong hands, that over time could be made could be weaponized. One of the problems is the difficulty that the IAEA have to accessing the site, as Libya is a basically lawless country at the moment. And also one big unanswered question, who took this uranium? A question that has no answer at the moment.
Finally, Leo, we're both decked out in our green this morning. It is, of course, the 17th of March, St. Patrick's Day. And you have some rather unexpected news for us about corned beef. Enlighten us, please.
Yeah, Sharon, look, there's a reason I'm wearing this wonderful green tie that I went to great pains to get in Paris yesterday. There's good news if you live in New York. Catholics living in New York, despite Paddy's Day falling on a Friday, which would mean normally during Lent they weren't allowed to eat meat. They've been given special dispensation by the diocese in New York, also in Boston, to eat corned beef, which is apparently an American-Irish tradition, which I didn't know. I just found that out earlier. As always, there's going to be huge parades all over the world, of course, in Dublin and in the US. The Chicago parade has already taken place. I just want to show you the river that's turned green, and this is how they do it. They get small boats, 45 kilograms of dye, and they get these small boats to spread it around. Unfortunately, it lasts for only a day, and I can't leave you without talking about this. Huge day for Ireland today. Obviously, St. Patrick's Day could be even bigger tomorrow. The rugby. Ireland could win only their 4th Grand Slam ever. This piece in the Independent, the Irish Independent, talks about how players are dealing with nerves, how they're dealing with ticket requests, because everyone wants a ticket to the big one that takes place in Dublin tomorrow. Johnny Sexton, the captain, could cap it all off by becoming the Six Nations leading ever point scorer. And Sharon, I know you'll be watching. I'm hoping you won't be watching through your fingers or behind a couch and everything goes as planned.
No, we're feeling very confident ahead of that big game tomorrow, Leo. That is Leo McGuinn joining us there with our press review.